Welcome back to From the Source podcast. This is episode 36, and today we're going to be talking about running and, in particular, how to get better at running. So, what we've noticed in the last probably year, maybe couple of years, maybe since COVID, I think, is that running has become way more popular than it ever has. And if you listen to this and you're a runner, you're like an avid runner, then you'll be thinking, no, it's not. I've been running for years. But actually, I've seen on social media, YouTube, everything like that, even just in the real world, in real life, you see people running all the time. And I think one thing that everybody wants to do is get better at running, because it is hard. So we're going to take you through what we think. We're not pro runners. We're not pro athletes, but we run. And we've run quite a lot. So we're going to tell you what works for us. And if you're listening to this and you disagree, let us know in the comments. So we'll get into it. Let's start with, why is running so popular? What we say into that?
I think some of that's probably got to do with the run clubs that brands are now putting on. They're now appealing to everyone through run clubs, like as a marketing thing now. So obviously we speak about 247 represent, but there's like coffee shops do run clubs now just to get more people in the door, offer discounts and stuff. So people are then running, but they're actually going for the community and the social, and then kind of falling in love with running. And then that carries on from there. I think everything on my like Instagram, especially like the podcast Instagram, is just like run clubs. Like,
what did they used to do before a run club? Like, what did brands do before run clubs were popular? Because they've kind of become popular. And I think like 5 years ago, people weren't really doing run clubs. But what were they doing? They must have been doing something.
yeah, actually,
Or maybe is community and like brand.
yeah, I think community is now the brand, because even like, especially like girls' clothing brands and stuff, they do like yoga classes now. Like yoga marketing classes.
It's all about fitness, health.
Yeah, so like health and wealth and all that lot. I'm trying to think what they used to do before. I think they just used to do like a shitload of like marketing.
Do you know
like
what?
General marketing, like Facebook ads and stuff.
And I think the alternative would be like a meet and greet, where you'd actually like go somewhere and the person would be there and you'd meet them. But then now it's like the meet and greet's still a thing, but it's through a run club, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it gives you like actual like a community. Like, these are all the people who support your brand or support your coffee shop, and here they are. Here are your customers, and we're all going to do something together. It's a really cool thing, and it's keeping fit and healthy.
Yeah, because I think it stops that separation between like the brand owner kind of only really caring about like the money and the bottom line and stuff like that, and then the customers. I just think about like represent with it, with like, so like George gets involved with the run club, so I don't want to say you go down to like meet George, but
a lot of people do.
There's a possibility you can go down, meet him, have a picture, do all that, which like, imagine if Nike did that. I don't even know who owns Nike. It's probably just like corporations now. So you'd never get to meet the owners, and like, if I was a brand owner doing that, you get to hear first feedback straight away.
Yeah, it works both ways, doesn't it? Because as the manager or the brand owner or whatever the owner is, you can meet your customers direct and see if they like the product, see what they think to the product. Even like a coffee shop, like round the corner from us, there's a coffee shop, and they do a run club there, and you get to bring people together, and then you see what they order. What's the most popular order at the run club? What's the most popular product? But yeah, with the likes of like George Heaton and stuff, give people a free product, so people go and get a free hat or a free t-shirt.
Yeah, and he does that now with Cadence, doesn't he? He merges the two.
Yeah,
you get a free can, and
you get, as a customer, you get the interaction with the brand that you love, with like the actual owner of it, who you idolize for some people, but also you get to be in their content, because what they do, which is really clever now, is the run club's not just the run club. It's you are getting content every week, or however often you do it,
But they use it for the like the video for promo for new clothes drops as well.
Everyone's
like,
in it.
Yeah, so everyone gets involved. It's a really clever idea. I mean, like obviously Pure Sport, literally probably My Protein are doing it before High Rocks this weekend.
Really?
They're doing a pre-High Rocks workout, leg flush or whatever they're calling it, just a 5K. So
They always
everyone's
call
doing
something
it.
like that.
Yeah,
A leg flush, a shakeout. Like
yeah,
it's not any of them things. You don't really need it. It's just probably just to like do a bit of movement. But again, you go to it because it's your brand that you pay for and you support.
yeah.
It's a good idea.
It's a really clever idea. It's something that you could literally probably do for in any niche. Just apply it. You could do it for like your tutoring and stuff.
Run club.
Not like maybe not a run club, but like a say with like I don't know with the kids you could do like a shake and move out. I don't know what you call it.
I'm just thinking if like all brands did a run club and it was like Screwfix running club.
Running with like drills on the back.
Yeah, then you go back and like you get a discount on a drill, you know.
Yeah.
But it for the brands like clothing brands and then like local coffee shops, breakfast places, you know, like I'm thinking there's one near us, Rise.
Yeah.
That's so popular. There's like
That's a massive run
you know, the
club,
one around the corner from us, Reggie's, they do a run club. There's a lot of places doing a run club, but it promotes a healthy lifestyle, a social experience where you get to chat to new people. And also you support that thing that you're going to, whether it's a brand, clothing, supplement brand, whatever it is. It's really cool. And it obviously, when you see that as a person on like Instagram, if you see a run club, like when I see the represent run clubs, even though I've not gone, I'm like, that's mad.
Yeah.
Like, that is crazy that
Hundreds
they've
of
got
people
all
now
them
go.
people to go for a little run,
Yeah.
you know.
Because we've said it, I've said it to you, like they could literally rock up in like Rotherham and say we're doing a 247 run, and you'd probably get at least 50 to 100 people just
You
rock
would,
up.
yeah.
Just drive. They drive an hour.
They
just
do it overseas, like they did it for Berlin Marathon. They
Yeah.
got like 100 people going
Yeah.
for a 5K the day before a marathon. And then they've got a clothing drop there. It's, you know, all these brands do it. It's really cool.
do it in LA or whatever. So they'll say like, we're dropping a limited item that's only for like 247 LA. You've got to be there to get it. So all those like clothes freaks that want the special clothes will go, and they'll bring their mates, and it's just good advertising, good marketing.
Yeah.
Really clever.
All right, then. So let's get into it. You want to get better at running. You've been inspired by run clubs. You've been inspired by maybe someone on YouTube, and you want to improve. And you've been running for a while, or you're brand new to running. What do you need to prioritize, would you say? Obviously, there's different types of running you can do. What would you say you need to prioritize if you want to improve at running?
I probably think that one of the first things is working out what distance you kind of want to be good at.
True.
So, for example, if you wanted to be good at a marathon, there's no point doing like 5K type training.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think usually people want to get better at a 5K or a 10K. No one really, I've not met anyone that's like, oh, I just want to do a marathon first time out.
Yeah.
They're psychopaths. But
It's so you need to pick your area.
yeah,
I think with running now, a lot of people like the idea of being able to run very far. I think a little bit distorted, but people want to tell everyone they've ran far on social media, and then they get the benefits of running. Like, I feel like when you first start running, you enjoy telling everyone you do running, and then when you actually get into it properly, you see the benefits for yourself, like the peace of mind that you get after you've had a run, the endorphins that you get after you've had a run, and the actual progress you've made, but you see it yourself. But at the start, if I was a runner or just getting into running, I remember when I was, and the biggest satisfaction I got was telling everyone I've gone for a run on social media.
Yeah, you still do that now though.
Yeah, you never fall out of it. Because if I go for like a massive run, I'm reaping the benefits, myself. But there's nothing better than, like getting someone to be like, that's sick, that, that's mega, that. And it's a little bit superficial, I guess, because you want that satisfaction from everyone else. But I don't know, like that's like a second win for the run.
Yeah.
The first win is I'm proud of myself and I've done well, and the second benefit of that is just other people saying well done.
Yeah, I think I see a lot of people do like half marathons on a Sunday morning, and it says on Strava like started at like 7 a.m.
Yeah,
They're like all boxed off before 9.
yeah,
So that you get to a level where you just want to, you do want to like show it off because you're proud of it.
Yeah.
You're proud that you can run a half marathon pretty quick. Like, you know, why would you not? But I definitely think if you're starting off, you need to prioritize work out what type of distance or how far you want to run.
yeah. What area you're in?
Yeah,
And
because
for most people, if you're new to running, it's achieve a 5K.
yeah,
And then if you get good at that, it's get a bit faster.
yeah,
And then you start ticking them off distance wise, don't you? You go to 10K, then you go to half,
Yeah.
then you go to marathon. Then you might even go to an ultra. But let's say, all right, I've picked my area, and now I'm ready to get better at that thing, whether it's a 5 or a half or a marathon. Then where do you go?
I would probably start off at the zone 2 type.
Yeah, that
So zone 2 for anyone who doesn't know is like they work. So it's like zone 1 to 5, and zone 5 is like it's worked out on heart rate. So it's different for each person. So like what your max heart rate is, I can't remember how they work it out. But for example, like your zone 5 could be between like 180, 190 beats per minute, and then it subsequently comes down from that to zone 1, where it's basically like 90 beats per minute. So that zone 2 is basically, what is it? Like, I think for me, it's like 120 to 140 or something.
yeah.
So it's where obviously your heart rate's beating 120, but it's comfortable. You can probably chat. But it's just all about just running a decent distance at a slow pace.
Yeah.
So when you're first starting out doing those zone 2s, so say if your target is a 10K, just do a 10K in zone 2.
And it's slow.
It's very slow.
It's a lot slower than you think. Because the thing with running is, because it's called running, not jogging, like people think they should be trying really hard and going really fast and, you know, giving it everything they've got. And that's why a lot of people hate running, because when they get to running at the start, it's a horrible feeling when you're pushing yourself to your max all the time. You know, when I do like a 5K PB or go for it, it's not enjoyable. Not one bit of it's enjoyable. But then if I do a nice slow run with my mates, and it's slow and you're chatting, that's a really enjoyable run. You've not pushed yourself probably at all. I could have done it for hours, you know.
Yeah, you don't realise.
And that's a zone 2.
Yeah.
That's where you need to be. So
Yeah.
zone 1 is like, zone 1 is like,
That's like a canter route. Like,
it's like a warm up.
yeah.
It's like you've done a little warm up, you know, you've probably gone for a walk. I mean, if you went for a long walk, you'd be in zone 1, like slow. Zone 2 is like a little jog, but it's probably like more of a run than a jog. Then zone 3 is like pushing yourself a bit further, zone 4, then zone 5, and it's all based on your heart rate. So
Yeah.
depending on your fitness level, you've obviously got a different zone level.
Yeah. Probably zone 3 and 4 is like tempo run, and zone 5's like flat out intervals.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, I don't know the exact maths, but your max heart rate, like zone 5, is close to, is it like 220 minus your age?
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that. And then depending on going down like to zone 4.
It's like
to zone
20
3.
beats per minute blocks,
Yeah.
basically.
But the idea is, if you want to get better at running, if you can get in zone 2 for a long period of time and get good at that, get comfortable with that, if you think about it, like eventually your zone 2 now shifts slightly because you've done it and you've got better at it. Your heart becomes stronger, you become fitter. So now if you can run, let's say at the start you can run 30 minutes in zone 2, right? But your heart's probably like at the top end of zone 2. If you keep doing it, eventually you can run 30 minutes at zone 2, same pace, but your heart rate's slower your heart's become stronger. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And your zones can shift.
Yeah. So it'll basically come at 20 beats per minute will come down.
Yeah.
So it'll start in what would have been your zone 1.
Yeah.
And everything just comes down. And then you mix it in with like when you run in the zone 5s, it's how efficiently your heart can go from say 180 beats per minute back down to like zone 2.
That's a massive one.
And that's different things we'll talk about with tempos and track sessions and stuff. But yeah, zone 2 is just getting your heart used to running, say, that 10K or 30-minute distance, however you want to do it. And then it gets your legs used to it, and then your whole body used to it. And then,
well, do you know what? It's like, this is the problem with things like Strava, I think. And it's because one of the key elements to being a good runner is running running slow and further in a slow run. So zone 2, the longer, but no one wants to show off that. Like, no one wants to say to people, look, I ran for 2 hours today, but I only ran 25K in 2 hours.
Because people look at the speed per mile,
Yeah,
and the distance, so they'll be like, oh, God, you've gone out and done like an 850 mile. Like, that's pretty slow.
yeah.
But that could have been your zone 2 day. But it's not. It's weird. It's so weird how it's like so. Well, Strava's basically like Facebook when it first came out. Like,
Yeah,
very judgy and
because you're basically, it's not, but you're showing off your runs, aren't you? You're not, but what's the point in having Strava, like, for everyone to see if you're not showing it off? Like, technically, you are showing it off, but no one wants to see your zone 2 runs because it's boring. But that's actually the building block for being a good runner. So, it's a hard one, but you should prioritize that, because it's literally how you get to be a better runner.
Yeah.
And we're not like running experts, but in our advice, they're the runs that matter. So when I do like a 5K, let's say I can run 5K in 20 minutes, like every time. But then if I do a 5K that takes me 30 minutes, I'm going to be thinking, oh, fucking hell, people are going to think I'm shit.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm just doing an easy, nice run,
Yeah.
keeping in that zone 2. But zone 2 is important, but there's other things as well that we'll get into now.
So it's the zone 2 stuff that I really struggle to do now, because there's just it's hard to get like motivated.
There's no stimulus there. Like, there's no reward.
It's just a plod. Like, doing a zone 2 on my own, it's just so boring. So boring, but it's got to be done.
Okay, then you mentioned tempo runs, so let's get into that, because you're actually quite good at, like, I've seen you doing tempo runs and like speaking about it a lot.
I like the tempo. It depends what week you're really on, because I like tempo runs, but then some weeks I like track sessions because it's just quick. You're in, you're out. But like tempo runs is basically like what I was saying before in terms of you run. So, for example, like tempo runs I do is 500 meters on, 500 meters off. So it's 500 meters hard, which will be in like zone 4, whatever that zone is for you. And then you do 500 meters and you don't completely stop. You then slow it down to 500 meters in zone 3 or zone 2. So you're still jogging, you're still plodding along, and then you go back in. So you do 5K, basically. So 2.5 on and 2.5 off.
Yeah. It's like, if anyone did GCSE PE, it's a bit like fartlek.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's like run, walk, jog, sprint, but you never actually stop. So it's very similar to intervals. Say if you go to do intervals, but intervals is like run, stop.
Yeah.
Run, stop.
Yeah.
Tempo is run, slow it down. Run, slow it down.
Yeah.
Sprint, slow it down. So tempo runs are good because you touched on it, and it's where you are basically, yes, you're training speed, but you're training your heart. So when your heart rate goes to that max level, or let's say it goes to zone 4, and it's tough, yeah, the run's really tough and your heart's beating, going crazy, and then you slow it down, that slow down bit of the tempo run is where you need to get your heart rate back to zone 2 or zone 3 so that you can carry on for a longer period of time.
Yeah. And the tempo runs for me is like, it's been specific to what we're doing at High Rocks, but High Rocks aside, I think they're like, mentally they are good for you, because you go in super hard, well, quite hard, and all your brain is telling you to do is like, when you get to that, say that 500 meters and the tempo stops, just walk 500 meters. You have to tell yourself like, no, it's a jog.
Yeah.
But it depends how you want to do the tempo runs when you first start. But when you get into them, like say your 500 meter hard is say 4 minutes a K that I do. But then when you drop it off, maybe you start at like your next 500 is at 5:30 a K. So you've gone 4 minutes to 5:30, 4 minutes to 5:30. But then as you get better and you get stronger, you maybe keep it at 4 minutes. But when you're slower running, it's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's still quick and it's still
And you're
hard.
progressing. And the thing with tempo runs is, the thing with all running is, you're not just training your legs and your body to run, you're training your heart. So when you're looking at your heart rate, if you've got like a fitness watch or a Garmin or something like that, you should be, yes, looking at your pace and your time, but you should be looking at your heart rate, because that's ultimately what's going to keep you going for longer and faster. So tempo runs, unbelievable, because push it hard, drop off, but don't stop. You want to stop, you want to stop, but it's a slower pace. And Sam's right what he just said, obviously, about the next time you do a tempo run, or maybe like next month, that slow run now is a little bit faster than it was, but it's still your slow run.
Yeah.
And hopefully when you do that slow run, your heart rate can still fall back into that zone 2 or zone 3, and it's not still staying at the zone 4.
Yeah.
Because you're training your heart to get stronger.
So like the tempo runs, it's I mean, I find it interesting how it all works, but the tempo runs, if you do enough of them, will get you used to running at a faster pace in that zone 2. So it helps your zone 2 running. And to get better at the tempo runs and to make them quicker, you have to do the track or the interval fast speed work to lower that time, if that makes sense. So to lower that 4 minute 500, you got to do interval runs, but that will subsequently help you on the zone 2s, because you're used to, on that slow tempo, doing like a 5 minute K, for example.
Yeah.
And it all links.
It's so intertwined.
Yeah,
So
and it links. And you'll find some sessions where the tempo runs are horrendous. You feel so slow and everything else, and it's just like a bad week. But then when that training block finishes and you go back to the zone 2s, it's we've spoken about, it's like a miracle. You're like, oh, this is all right.
Yeah. And even if you have a bad, let's say you do go to the track and you do intervals, which we'll talk about in a minute, you might feel dreadful. But then 2 days later, if you go into your zone 2 run, you might feel unbelievable. And it's not that, oh, I've had a really rubbish day today with that training. It's like, oh, right, okay, if that felt really tough, maybe my next one's going to feel a lot, maybe that's when the work's being done.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get on to track sessions, because that's something that I think most people miss. Like, if you're going to lose one of these, I'd say most people would say, I'm not bothered about track sessions. I don't want to be an Olympic athlete, so I'm not asked.
And the track sessions is why people lose them, because like they're so hard.
Yeah. And it's the beautiful thing about running is you can do it anywhere. You can leave your home, you can leave your hotel, you can, we could be on a road trip, and then if you've got a pair of running shoes, you can literally whack them on and go. But you need a track for a track session. Well, not necessarily. You could do intervals without a track. We've done it plenty of times, but you need somewhere where you have a flat piece of road or track to run on that's not going to have any interference with traffic or potholes or anything like that, because on a track session, interval session, you just want to focus on speed. Like, that's it. So can you explain how a track session would work, like, or a speed session would work? What would you actually do?
I mean, there's different types. There's the normal pyramid, inverted pyramid, just flat out, like 400 or 800 sessions. So we've done 10 by 400s, like 6 or 8 by 800s. Or there's like a 400, 600, 800, 1K, 800, 600, 400. There's loads of different ways to do it, but you set out at like a specific time do you want to run? So we've ran 320s, that's like flat out 400s, or there's loads of different ways you want to do it. But it's like what I said at the start, it's specific to like what you want to do, like what your target is. So if you're running a marathon, there's no point doing flat out 400s all the
No.
time. That'll be a speed session, which I would hate to do, which would be like 2K speed sessions and stuff like that. So
it's like, it's still beneficial, but it's going to be adapted to whatever your goal is. So I've seen people maybe training for a marathon and they're still going down to the track doing speed work. Because ultimately, if you get faster, like, and you're actually getting faster, then when you do your marathon, your splits are going to be a little bit faster, but it's adapted to whatever your goal is. So when we go, or when anyone goes to the track, it's based purely on speed. Or it should be. If you're doing intervals, it should be based on speed, really. You're there to get faster and stronger at running at a certain pace. Like, you wouldn't go down to the track to do a 10K. Like, it'd just be so boring.
yeah,
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, some people I've seen do a 10K time trial, like for
Yeah,
a PB.
yeah.
Because it's clean, but it's boring because you're doing like 400 around a track. But we've done, which is specific to what our goal has been, like 400s fast, 800s like fast. But I think the 800s we've done is like 800s pretty quick, close to like high rock speed, but reduce your rest.
Yeah. Like, you're just constantly going, but with like 90 seconds.
Yeah. So there's that aspect as well. So it's kind of both ways. You could do a 400 flat out and have like 3 minutes off, and then make sure flat out every single time, or do 800s or say 400s, but have less rest and get your body used to being out of breath when you're doing your next one.
Yeah.
So there's two ways to do it. And like I say, it depends on your goal, I think.
And let's say you go to the track and you're not sure what to do. Obviously, just Google like track session for 5K time or track session for increasing speed. You can Google anything, but it's the idea is that you're running fast around the track, maybe like 200 meters, maybe 400 meters, like Sam said, maybe 800 meters. But then you've got a little rest where you don't do anything. You just rest. And then the idea is that you go again and you either maintain the pace or increase the pace, or it depends if you're doing a pyramid and stuff, you might actually decrease the pace. But the idea is that you're consistently running fast around that track.
Yeah.
Even though you've already done like 5 laps, or whatever it is. And that helps, because if you think about it, let's say your goal is to run a fast 5K and you want to get a PB. You've worked out how fast you need to be running. Like, that's obviously what you do. But then when you get to the track, the idea is that you run faster than what you would, or the same as what you would to get that PB. But you've got a 90-second or a 2-minute rest, and then you go again. And I think you do that every week, or, if you can't get every week, once every 2 weeks, you can quickly make gains in your running. Because when we run around the track, let's say we're running a 3:30, 400 meters, 90 seconds rest, another 3:30, 90 seconds rest. You do that 10 times. You can run 4K at 3:30. And if I need to run to get a sub 20, 5K at a 3:55, I know I can do 4K at 3:30. So I'm probably going to be able to do it. It's just training myself to get there. So running is simple maths. And a lot of people don't know how to do the maths, but you don't need to. You've got a pace calculator on Google.
Yeah, it's painful maths.
Yeah, because you need to think like, if I want to get this time, what do my splits look like in a perfect race, But yeah, track sessions, something that I know is really beneficial, but I don't do enough, and it's because you've got to get down to the track. The great thing, like I said, is about running is you can do it anywhere. But because you've got to drive to a track, get out the car and walk to the track and then go and run and then drive back home, it just takes that little bit of extra motivation to be like, no, let's go and do a track session. And it was easy in summer for us in the UK because you get down to the track and it's sunny, you're buzzing. But when it's like grey and wet and cold and windy, the last thing you want to be doing is being like, shall we go down to the track, But
They've got to be done.
it's got to be done because it's where you do get faster. And like for us, like we're going to do High Rocks next weekend. And if we are aiming at getting a certain pace for these 1K splits, how do you work out how fast you can run 1K? Literally at the track. Because High Rocks is a track. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're a High Rocks person and you listen to this and you're not going to the track or you've never been to the track, you're missing out massively because a High Rocks race is a track and then a track is where you can practice that. So there's one more run really that we've not touched on, which is long distance runs. So long distance runs, basically you just want to run for as long as possible, but the idea is that you don't want to like just say I'm going to run 30k and then you go and run 30k. It's more like you'd set out maybe like I'm going to start this week at 10k and then I'm going to go to 12k and then I'm going to increase slowly throughout that. So when I've done long distance runs for like training for a marathon, I try and use an app like Runner. So there's the Runner app. Or if you don't want to pay monthly or weekly, you can literally Google like a marathon or whatever distance it is. You can Google a marathon plan or something like that. And it's just a gradual increase. So I'm basically saying that you can Google or you can have an app that tells you how to gradually increase to that long distance. But I think what a lot of people do where they go wrong is say, I'm going to run this tomorrow. And then it's really tough. And then you're aching like mad, You want to gradually increase. And that's why like Runner app, that's a really good app to use because it'll just lay it out for you. You've used Runner app.
Yeah, it takes the thought process out of it. It does it for you. I think something I was going to say before is like when I first started running, I wanted to be quicker at a 5k and a quicker at a 10k. I think if you're just starting out, like running fast, or I just used to think like running a 5k or a 10k fast every single time would make me better at a 5k. And now, after like self-education, all that, like you realize that you don't need to do that. You could literally never run a 5k and just do intervals and tempos and do a 5k once and be better from just doing that and never touch a 5k distance. And that's the mad thing that people forget about. I see people running near us all the time. They're always running the same speed, like they're just doing a 5k every day. And it's not about that. Like marathon runners don't run marathons every week.
No.
They
It's
probably
like the total opposite.
Yeah, like when you did your marathon, you probably didn't run marathon. You probably wouldn't have run marathon distance. You'd probably get to about, was it like 30, 35k for a long run?
Even 30k is like, 35k is probably the max, but most people stop at like 32k.
Yeah, so you that's the thing you need to remember. And I think I'm like a big believer in the tempo and the track sessions.
Yeah, but do you know like when you were saying before, it's all intertwined. Like if you want to be a better runner, it's all about those list of things we've said: zone 2, tempo, intervals, and track sessions, and then like a long distance run as well. It's all intertwined. Like you need it all. It's not just I want to be fast, so I'm going to focus on track sessions. Like if you want to get, let's say you want to go for like a sub 25k, I'd still be doing a long run every so often.
Yeah.
And just training your heart to like, because there's nothing, when you do a fast 5k, your brain and your heart and everything's going mad, saying like stop. But if you've trained yourself to run 30k, like you're used to not stopping.
Yeah.
You're training your mind, you're training your heart, you're training your legs, obviously.
Yeah, Yeah, it's clever how it all works, because tempo sessions, if you're doing like even 1K tempos, if you can run them really quick, but you never run anything close to 5K or past it, once you do that 5K PB, your body, your brain is clever. It'll be like 1K, this is where I'm meant to stop. Like your body is not used to running anything past that.
Yeah.
And that's the same for like intervals and track sessions. Yeah, like you said, it's all linked.
But there's them list of things that we've said, but there's obviously more to it, and there's more kind of science-backed, evidence-based stuff you can read. It's not really our place to talk about. So these are just what works for us, but it's obviously, we read a lot and research a lot on for ourselves on what we should do. So this is science-backed stuff, but we don't know enough about the science to give you like a full, in-depth explanation on why this works, but it just does.
I mean, we could do, but that's not what we set out for the podcast.
We're sat here in like lab coats.
Yeah. It's not an educational podcast.
No.
It's kind of like a through our eyes type podcast.
And there's something that I've been like thinking about, and we've chatted about it before, I think, but Garmin's and fitness watches and trackers are great, but sometimes they can limit you to like, they can limit what you can achieve, or like the opposite. They can kind of push you a little bit to the extreme that you don't need to go to. And there's something about maybe like running like you do a lot without the watch and like purely based on intuition. Like, do you know how fast you can run? Like without your watch? Because this is a true, science story is me and Sam have been running around the track together at the same pace, and his watch is saying he's doing a 350 and my watch is saying I'm doing a 4, yet we're running at the same pace. Remember that?
Yeah, right next to each other, yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, forget the numbers, forget the maths, because it is important, but sometimes go for the run and just feel the run. You did it on the 50, we did like 50K when we did that challenge. We do runs quite a lot, and we'll wear the watch, and sometimes, I mean, I'm pretty regimented with my watch, but I'm trying not to use it as much and actually focusing on my heart rate now and just not looking at my pace, because I want to feel what is it like for me to go full pelt, like my full exertion, like what does that actually feel like, rather than what does it look like on my watch.
Yeah, I think that would probably be easier at a track session if you're doing 400s. The goal is run as hard as you physically can,
sustained.
Yeah, all the way around the track to where you first start, and that is it. And once you get back, 90 seconds is on the clock, rest. And once it goes again, flat out.
Yeah.
Because we've done it before in track sessions. Like you get to like, if you're doing 10 400, you get to like the 8th one and it feels really hard. You start looking at your watch and you're like, I'm actually still running at the same pace.
Yeah.
But I spend the whole lap looking at my watch.
Yeah.
And you forget.
And sometimes like you go running to forget everything and like zone out almost. Then it's like been like a mentally draining experience, because you kind of like, oh God, I need to run faster. Oh no, I need to slow down.
Yeah.
We do it at the track because you get, especially the first 2 or 3 laps, you're getting a feel for the pace. So we'll be running, let's say we're trying to do like 330s, and someone will be like, we need to slow down here, we're going way too fast. And I'll be like, no, my watch is not there yet. But you're trusting a GPS signal from outer space to tell you how fast you're running around that local park.
When it's meant to be a flat out 400.
Yeah, but you are at the local park, like you're there.
Yeah.
The bloody GPS thing's, a million miles away.
Yeah.
So it's something like you do need fitness trackers, because especially if you want to get better, like how do you measure better? Like you can measure it how you feel, but obviously with running, it's all about time. So that's how you measure it. So you do need it, but I think
the zone 2 runs that I've done, where there's a website I use that's called like plotteroute.com, and you literally go on there, click where you started, draw your route out, and you don't need to take your watch, because as soon as I get to that landmark or whatever it is, I hit there, that's halfway, and I turn back around, and that's it. And you're just doing a simple zone 2, you're taking in everything else, you're not worrying about it, and you know within yourself that your heart's not like beating out of its chest, so you're probably pretty close. But yeah, I I do think since the coast to coast run, there's some runs that I don't take my watch on.
Yeah,
Some
you would,
workouts, you end up getting engrossed in it, and sometimes it's not beneficial because we
No.
finish our workout and my Garmin says like, I can't remember what it says, like rest up to 28 hours.
Yeah, like recovery.
Yeah, recovery, that's it. And I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah, mine sometimes says like 36 hours, and I'm like, you want me to wait like nearly 2 days to just chill? I've only done like, an hour's work.
Yeah, I've done a 5K, and but then there's, like you said, the other side that people take it to the extreme, and they will listen to that like regardless.
Yeah.
And you could only train twice in a week.
We should do an episode on this actually, because it's quite a good topic about are fitness trackers worth it? Because we could go in depth on this, especially when you get to like sleep, heart rate and breathing, and you're like living your life through a little watch rather than actually living your life through
real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, I hope this episode's helped you with how to get better at running. Again, we're not experts at running. Like we're not actually amazing at running. We're just like decent level of, good runners.
But I think it's like lived experience though.
Yeah, and that means more than a study in a lab with, pro athlete runners. It's real life runners.
It's very relatable.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get anywhere near the marathon runners. Some people might, but
you never know.
Most people.
If we've missed anything though, drop us a comment. And if you disagree with anything, you actually think that's a load of shit, let us know. Because, we need to know. It's real lived experience, and you might have more than us. Well, yeah, if you're not following us on Instagram, then go ahead. It's @From the Source podcast. And then we've got obviously YouTube if you're watching this, Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you're listening to this. Please hit the follow button or the like button, and then share it with your nan. She might be into this. She might want to get better at running. You never know. But just share it. If there's something that you've heard, then share it, because someone else might benefit from listening to this. Or just send it to your mates and say, what a load of shit.
Yeah, look at these two wankers, yeah.
Yeah. But no, thanks for listening. And just a reminder that if you're at High Rocks Birmingham next week, which will be the 26th, 27th.
Yeah, or 25th, 26th.
Then
whatever that is.
Let us know. Send us a message on Instagram, and then we'll get in touch. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you on the next one.